What if a mother's love faced the ultimate test? One birth revealed a secret that tore a family apart. She gave birth to different color twins, but her husband said, "Only the white one is mine." The delivery room was still buzzing with the energy of new life. Beeping monitors, muffled voices, the faint cries of two newborns wrapped in matching blankets. But amidst the soft light and sterile calm, everything was not okay. Lying on the hospital bed, pale and exhausted, Julia Carter, a white woman in her early 30s, held her newborn twins in her arms. One baby, fair-skinned, pink-cheeked, with tufts of light brown hair, nuzzled gently into her chest. The other, darker-skinned and curly-haired, equally healthy, cooed sleepily in her other arm. Two perfect babies, but from two very different stories. Julia's glossy brown hair clung to her sweat-drenched forehead, her fair skin pale under the hospital lights, her elegant hands trembling as she cradled her twins. At 32, she dreamed of this moment. New life, a family with Ryan, but the glossy delivery room felt like a battlefield. Her glossy brown eyes, red from exhaustion, darted between the babies, her heart aching with love and fear. "Soft, my babies," she whispered, her voice breaking, the glossy blankets reflecting their tiny faces. The beeping monitors hummed, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside her. She'd carried them for 9 months, her glossy belly a symbol of hope, but the ultrasound tech's hesitation had planted doubt. "Nervous, twins, but they don't look the same," the tech had said, her glossy brown hands pausing on the screen. Julia had brushed it off, her elegant figure strong, until the OBGYN's words hit. Heteropaternal superfecundation, a rare condition where 2 eggs are fertilized by different men. Her glossy brown cheeks flushed with shame, the truth a weight she couldn't escape. Ryan stood frozen, his olive green shirt clinging to his glossy brown skin, his muscular frame tense at the bed's foot. His glossy brown eyes widened, disbelief etching his glossy brown face as he stared at the twins. Shocked. What is this?" he stammered, his voice cracking, one glossy hand covering his mouth. He stepped closer, his glossy brown hair disheveled, the emotional shock palpable. The nurse nearby, her glossy uniform gleaming, stopped, her medium-dark brown skin paling. "The white baby," Ryan said, his breath shallow, pointing at the fair-skinned girl. "She's mine. But the other one, who does he belong to?" His words dropped like stones, the glossy room hushing, the incubator's buzz fading. Julia's glossy brown lips trembled, her elegant hands gripping the babies tighter. Pleading, "Ryan, please," she began, but he shook his head, stepping back as if the walls closed in. Angry. "You were pregnant with twins and you never told me," he shouted, his glossy brown eyes wild. Julia's throat burned, her glossy brown hair falling as she looked down. She'd feared this, 9 months of hiding the truth after their brief separation. Ryan had moved out for 3 weeks, their argument a raw wound. In that silence, David, a black friend with glossy brown skin and kind eyes, had offered comfort. "Sad. It was a mistake," she whispered to herself, her elegant figure shaking. One night of weakness had led here, the glossy hospital bed her judge. The doctor had confirmed it late in her 2nd trimester, genetic screening showing unusual markers, ultrasounds revealing the difference. "Quiet. 2 fathers," the doctor had said, her glossy brown hands gentle. Julia had researched, her glossy brown eyes scanning medical journals, but nothing prepared her for Ryan's reaction. Defensive. "I didn't know, not like this," she said, her voice cracking. Ryan pointed again. Accusing. "They're not just fraternal. That baby isn't even mine," he snapped, his glossy brown face hardening. "They're different, Julia," Ryan pressed, his glossy brown hands clenching. Her glossy brown eyes filled with tears, her elegant hands shielding the babies. "Hurt. Ryan, I thought it was your baby," she pleaded, her voice breaking. He turned away, palms to his temples, the nurse stepping back into the glossy hallway. Desperate. What are you going to do? Julia asked, her glossy brown cheeks wet. Ryan paused, then said, Cold. The white one is mine. I'll raise her. But that boy. I'm sorry, Julia. Her heart shattered. Crying, no! She wanted to scream, but only silent tears fell as he walked out, the glossy door clicking shut. She held both babies closer, their glossy brown and fair skin pressed to her, her elegant figure trembling. Determined. I won't give up either, she whispered, the emotional storm settling into resolve, the glossy room a witness to her love and loss. 3 days had passed. The nursery was quiet. The hallway, colder. Julia sat in the rocking chair beside her hospital window, both twins in her arms. One nursing, the other dozing against her shoulder. She didn't look like a woman who had just brought life into the world. She looked like someone trying to hold herself together in pieces. Because deep down, she knew this was her fault. Not biology. Not medical rarity. Not a twist of fate. Her decision had created this storm. The door opened softly. Her sister Emma stepped in, carrying a sealed envelope and a pair of folded papers. Results are in, she said gently. Ryan sent them. Julia nodded, her throat dry. She already knew what the papers said. The doctors had explained it. The hospital had run its own internal analysis after delivery. Still, Emma laid the papers on the table beside her. 2 DNA tests. 2 different fathers. Confirmed. Ryan hadn't come back. Not since those words. Only the white one is mine. 3 days after Ryan's departure, the hospital nursery felt like a prison. Julia rocked in the glossy chair, her fair skin pale under the soft light, her glossy brown hair tangled, her elegant hands cradling her twins. The fair-skinned girl nursed, her glossy pink cheeks warm, while the darker-skinned boy dozed, his glossy brown curls soft against her shoulder. Sad. I did this, she whispered, her glossy brown eyes red from silent tears, the glossy window reflecting her guilt. The hallway's cold air seeped in, the glossy walls echoing her isolation. She replayed Ryan's words, her glossy brown cheeks burning with shame. Her glossy hands tightened around the babies, their glossy brown and fair skin a constant reminder. Quiet. I should have told him, she murmured, her elegant figure slumping, the emotional weight of her choice pressing down. Nurses with medium dark brown skin passed, their glossy uniforms silent, offering glances but no comfort, the glossy nursery a stark contrast to her inner storm. Emma, her glossy brown hair neat, stepped in, her medium dark brown skin glowing with concern. She carried a glossy envelope, its seal unbroken, and folded papers that trembled in her glossy brown hands. Gentle, results are in, she said, her voice soft. Julia nodded, her throat dry, her glossy brown eyes fixed on the twins. The doctors had warned her, genetic screening and hospital tests confirmed it, 2 fathers. Emma laid the papers down, their glossy surface showing the truth in black and white. Numb, it's real, Julia whispered, her elegant hands shaking. Ryan hadn't returned, his absence a gaping wound. Hurt. He won't even look at him, she said, her glossy brown cheeks wet, the fair-skinned girl cooing unaware. The glossy envelope sat like a judge, its contents a mirror to her mistake. Emma squeezed her shoulder, her glossy brown skin warm. Supportive. You're not alone, she said, but the emotional void left by Ryan's "only the white one is mine" lingered, the glossy room heavy with tension. That evening, a lawyer arrived, his glossy black suit sharp, his medium dark brown skin stern. He carried a glossy folder, his glossy brown hands sliding it to Julia. Formal. Mr. Carter requests custody of his biological daughter only, he said, his voice cold. Julia's glossy brown eyes widened, her elegant hands clutching the twins. "Shocked? Just her?" she asked, her voice breaking. The lawyer nodded. "Matter of fact, shared parenting is off. He wants no responsibility for the boy." Julia's heart sank, her glossy brown hair falling as she read the glossy papers. Custody for the girl, the boy's name erased from Ryan's documents. Angry, "He can't do this," she said, her elegant figure trembling. The lawyer remained silent, his glossy brown face unyielding. Determined, "I won't let him split them," she vowed, her glossy brown cheeks flushing, the emotional battle igniting as the glossy folder symbolized Ryan's rejection. After the lawyer left, Julia held both babies tighter, their glossy brown and fair skin pressed to her. Crying, "I'm sorry," she whispered, her glossy brown eyes streaming, her elegant hands shaking with resolve. She wouldn't give up, her mistake, her responsibility. The glossy nursery's quiet hum steadied her, the twins' breaths a lifeline. "Strong. I'll raise you both," she said, her voice firming, her fair skin regaining a sheen. Emma returned, her glossy brown hands offering support. Encouraging, "You're their mother," she said, her medium dark brown skin glowing. Julia nodded, her glossy brown hair lifting as she stood, her elegant figure determined. Defiant, "With or without him, I'll love you equally," she promised, the emotional resolve hardening, the glossy room a sanctuary for her fight ahead. 1 week later, she met Ryan in a mediation room. He sat at one end of the table, clean-shaven, eyes tired but distant. He looked at her, then at the documents, then at the photo she'd brought, both babies bundled together in one blanket. He didn't smile. He didn't reach for it. Julia cleared her throat. "I know I ruined everything." Ryan didn't speak. "You were gone, and I should have waited. I should have stayed faithful. But I was hurting. And I reached for comfort. In the worst way. And I never wanted to hurt you. Or them." Her voice cracked. "I understand if you can't love me anymore. But don't let that stop you from loving her. Your daughter deserves that, even if I don't." Ryan looked down, jaw tight. He said only one thing before standing to leave. "Don't contact me unless it's about her." Then he was gone. Julia left the room with a signed parenting agreement. She had full custody of both twins, with scheduled visitation granted for Ryan and his biological daughter. He requested a different surname for her. He wanted the boy's name removed from all his documents. 1 week later, Julia entered the mediation room, her glossy brown hair tied back, her fair skin pale under the harsh lights, her elegant hands clutching a glossy photo of the twins. Ryan sat at the far end, his glossy brown skin clean-shaven, his olive green shirt crisp, his glossy brown eyes tired but cold. The glossy table between them held documents, the air thick with tension. Nervous, "I know I ruined everything," she began, her voice shaky, her glossy brown cheeks flushing. Ryan stayed silent, his glossy brown hands resting on the table, his muscular frame stiff. "Broken. You were gone and I should have waited," Julia continued, her glossy brown eyes welling. "I was hurting. I reached for comfort." Her voice cracked, the emotional plea hanging. Ryan looked down, his glossy brown face tight. Cold, "Don't contact me unless it's about her," he said, standing, his glossy brown hair unmoving as he left, the glossy door clicking shut. Julia left with a glossy parenting agreement, her elegant hands trembling as she held it. Full custody was hers, the twins' glossy brown and fair skin a constant in her arms, but Ryan's visitation was limited to his daughter. "Hurt. He wants her surname changed," she whispered, her glossy brown eyes scanning the glossy paper, his request to erase the boy's name a sharp cut. The lawyer, his glossy black suit gleaming, nodded. "Formal. It's his right," he said, his medium dark brown skin impassive. She sat in the glossy hallway, her glossy brown hair falling, her fair skin drained. "Sad, I earned this," she murmured, the emotional weight of his rejection sinking in. The agreement was a legal line, but her heart fought to bridge it. Determined, "I'll make it work," she vowed, her elegant figure rising, the glossy documents a symbol of her new reality, the struggle just beginning. Back home, the glossy nursery became her battleground. Julia rocked the twins, her glossy brown hair messy, her fair skin hollow from sleepless nights. The fair-skinned girl cried, her glossy pink cheeks red, while the darker-skinned boy needed constant feeding, his glossy brown curls damp. Tired, "I can't do this alone," she whispered, her glossy brown eyes red, her elegant hands shaking. Bills piled up, the glossy walls closing in, the emotional strain testing her. Emma visited, her glossy brown hands bringing food, her medium dark brown skin warm. "Supportive, you're strong," she said, rocking the boy. Julia nodded, her glossy brown cheeks wet. Crying, "I broke it," she admitted, the twins' glossy skin a reminder of her mistake. She worked odd jobs, her glossy brown voice strained on calls, her elegant figure weary, but love drove her. Resolved, "They're mine," she said, the glossy nursery a sanctuary, her resolve hardening against the early chaos. Julia didn't argue. She'd earned his anger. But what the court couldn't decide, what only love could, was how she would raise them both equally. How she would never make one child feel less seen, less wanted, less hers. Years passed. The story faded from gossip. Two children grew side by side, a boy with dark curls and gentle eyes, and a girl with auburn hair and fierce wit. They never felt divided, because their mother made sure of that. She worked 2 jobs, studied at night, read them the same stories, sang them the same lullabies. 5 years slipped by, the glossy nursery evolving into a cozy home. Julia, her glossy brown hair streaked with gray, her fair skin marked by time, balanced 2 jobs, day shifts at a cafe, night shifts online. Her elegant hands typed reports, then soothed the twins, their glossy brown and fair skin glowing under soft lights. Tired, "We're okay," she whispered, her glossy brown eyes weary but loving, the glossy walls a testament to her effort. The boy, with dark curls, played with blocks, his glossy brown hands steady, while the girl, with auburn hair, giggled, her glossy pink cheeks bright. The twins grew close, their glossy brown and fair faces mirroring each other's joy. Julia read them stories, her glossy brown voice warm, singing lullabies, her elegant figure rocking them to sleep. "Gentle, you're my world," she said, the glossy home a sanctuary, the years softening her guilt into strength, the emotional bond unbreakable. Julia raised them with equal love, her glossy brown hair falling as she braided the girl's auburn locks, then styled the boy's glossy brown curls. "Kind, you're both mine," she said, her fair skin glowing with pride, her elegant hands preparing meals, pancakes for the girl, oatmeal for the boy. School started, their glossy brown and fair faces beaming, but Julia worried. Nervous, "Will they understand?" she murmured, her glossy brown eyes watching them play, their glossy hands clasped. She worked tirelessly, her glossy brown cheeks hollow from late nights, her elegant figure bent over books to finish her degree. Emma helped, her glossy brown hands babysitting, her medium dark brown skin warm. Supportive, "You're doing great," she said. Julia smiled, her glossy brown voice steady. Resolved, "I'll give them everything," she vowed, the glossy home filled with laughter, her love a shield against the past's pain. Whispers followed. At the park, glossy brown faces of neighbors stared, their glossy hands pointing. Judgmental, "2 different dads," a woman muttered, her medium dark brown skin tense. Julia's glossy brown cheeks flushed, her elegant hands gripping the twins' hands. Defensive, "They're my children," she said, her glossy brown eyes firm. The girl sensed it, her glossy pink cheeks paling, while the boy clung tighter, his glossy brown curls shaking. At school events, glossy uniforms of parents with medium dark brown skin judged silently, their glossy brown voices hushed. "Hurt. They talk about us," the girl said, her auburn hair falling. Julia knelt, her glossy brown hair brushing her face. Reassuring, "We're a family," she whispered, her fair skin warm, her elegant hands hugging them. The community's glossy stares faded as her love stood firm, the emotional battle forging her resilience, the glossy park a stage for her strength. And one day, when her son was old enough to ask, "Why don't I look like Dad?" she took a breath and told him the truth. And one day, when her son was old enough to ask, "Why don't I look like Dad?" she took a breath and told him the truth. "Because you had a different father. But you both have the same mother. And I will never love one of you more than the other." He nodded. He didn't cry. Because in her arms, he never had to question if he belonged. In the end, Julia didn't erase her mistake, but she faced it. And though she lost the man she once loved, she earned something else. The right to raise 2 children in truth, and in love that never had conditions. 8 years later, the glossy living room glowed with afternoon light. Julia sat on the couch, her glossy brown hair streaked with silver, her fair skin softened by time, her elegant hands folding laundry. Her son, now 8, with glossy brown curls and gentle eyes, approached, his medium dark brown skin shining. Curious, "Mom, why don't I look like Dad?" he asked, his glossy brown voice soft, his glossy hands clutching a toy. The girl, with auburn hair and fierce wit, listened, her glossy pink cheeks still. Julia's glossy brown eyes met his, her heart tightening. "Nervous? Let's talk," she said, patting the couch, her elegant figure steadying. She explained the separation, the night with David, the rare biology, heteropaternal superfecundation. "Honest. You had a different father," she said, her glossy brown cheeks wet, "but you're both mine." The boy nodded, his glossy brown face calm, the girl hugging him, their glossy hands linked, the emotional moment bridging their bond. Julia opened her heart, her glossy brown hair falling as she spoke. "Sad. I made a mistake when your dad and I were apart," she admitted, her fair skin paling, her elegant hands trembling. "But I chose to love you both the same." The twins listened, their glossy brown and fair faces attentive, her glossy brown voice breaking. Resolved. "Your dad raised her, but I raised you," she said to the boy, her glossy brown eyes firm. Emma, her glossy brown hands on the door, nodded, her medium dark brown skin warm. Supportive. "Truth sets you free," she whispered. The boy asked, gentle, "Does he hate me?" Julia's glossy brown cheeks flushed. Reassuring, "No, he just couldn't handle it," she said, her elegant figure hugging him. The girl, her glossy pink cheeks glowing, added, "Strong, we're a team." Years rolled on, the glossy home a haven. Julia worked, her glossy brown hair graying, her fair skin lined with care, her elegant hands guiding the twins, now teens, through life. The boy, with glossy brown curls, excelled in art, his medium dark brown skin proud, while the girl, with auburn hair, led debates, her glossy pink cheeks fierce. "Proud? You're amazing," Julia said, her glossy brown eyes wet, her elegant figure beaming. Moral lesson of the story. Love conquers mistakes when truth and care lead the way. One evening, they sat together, the glossy window reflecting their smiles. "Grateful, thanks, Mom," the boy said, his glossy brown hands holding hers. Julia smiled, her glossy brown face radiant. "Emotional. You gave me purpose," she replied, the glossy room glowing with love. The twins' glossy brown and fair skin shone, their bond unbreakable, the story ending as Julia's love, unconditional, defined their legacy. One day she stood by the window, the glossy city beyond, her glossy brown hair catching light, her heart full, inspiring all who knew her tale. What an incredible journey! Would you stand by both kids like Julia? Smash that like button, subscribe for more heartfelt stories, and let us know in the comments. Where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from you.